Hello everyone, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly and welcome to the London Club, and this video looking at the biggest iron play faults and how to fix them. Now we've teamed up with Ping and tour coach Liam James to offer you some really simple and effective advice in 3 key areas. So if you're missing your approach shots short of the green or you're struggling with pushes or pulls, there really should be something in this video that will help you out. Right, let's head out now onto the golf course here at the London Club and get started. Okay Liam, so the first fault that we're going to look at here is missing short. I think for a lot of people watching this, their most consistent miss when hitting into the green is going to be coming up short. It's no surprise that's where most golf courses tend to have the most trouble, tends to be short of the green. So how do you make sure that you're striking the ball that bit more consistently so that you're hitting the yardages you want to hit?
Yeah, so as you referred to, obviously most of the common faults when a player's hitting short, we tend to see all that come from the contact. So if we can do everything possible in order to enable ourselves some ball first contact and a bit of a more solid hit, the golf ball as a result of that is going to go its full distance. Yeah,
so you're looking to hit the ball before the ground, and how do you get the right angle of attack into the ball to make sure that you do that?
So we've got a basic drill here. So quite a common fault that we start to see with a lot of players is, as obviously they take their golf club up to the top, we start to see a lot of head movement away from the target. Now, as a result of that, the weight shifted quite a long way away from the target now. So if it's not moving back, we're going to start to see some contacts before this stick. We're going to hit the ground early, or if anything, we're going to thin the golf ball as well. Both of those contacts, we're not going to get the full yardage.
No.
So a little drill here, and a nice basic drill is, I'm just going to place this alignment stick here. That's just inside my right heel. Now, as I do some practice swings, my only focus really here now is just to make sure we stay nice and still all the way up to the top of the backswing. So I'm going to go up to the top, stay nice and still, and now when I swing down and through, we can start to see the divot is plenty after this stick. That's going to ensure my contact.
Yeah, so a lot of golfers might think, well, I've been told that when I move to the top of the backswing, my weight goes onto my right side. Is that not the case?
More so with the woods. We start to see a little bit more movement away from the target, only a hair really with the woods, but again, really consistent iron players and really solid iron players, we don't see a lot of head movement, so there's not much movement away from the target at all, so we want to try and stabilise that as much as we can.
Okay, go on then, let's hit a couple of shots. And
okay, right, so again, 2 or 3 practice swings here. I'm just going to have a nice practice swing up to the top, no real head movement away from the target, and then full weight transfer into my left side, making sure that I'm taking a divot. Let's give it a go.
Lovely. And I guess, Liam, no one's really in danger of actually striking that alignment stick, but it's a really clear visual guide for you just to know.
Absolutely, it just gives you a little bit of an awareness really. It's a bit of a cue on the floor just to make sure that we're staying nice and still on the way back and we're getting the weight shifting on the way through.
Yeah, so if you're coming up short with your iron shots, make sure your angle of attack is correct into the ball. You should be able to get the strikes that little bit purer and get your distances more consistent. Okay, Liam, so we've got another ball striking drill, similar sort of thing, but a slightly different way of approaching it.
Yeah, same concept. It's another drill that's really going to help and ensure some weight transfer, some weight shift towards the target. So I'm just going to take my normal address position here, just 1 to 2 inches behind the golf ball. Okay, so that's going to obviously make the ball a little bit further forward in my stance now as it normally would be. Same concept up to the top. We're going to make sure that we're staying nice and stable with our head. But because that golf ball's now 2 inches further forward than it would originally be, we've got to make sure that we're shifting over to it to ensure that contact.
And if you don't, you're catching it sort of 3 inches fat and it'll be very, very
exactly
clear.
Right, and it will just really highlight how stable your head needs to stay on the way back and how much you need to shift on the way through.
Yeah, and if you can get that part right, if you can get that angle of attack into the ball right, you should start striking your irons that little bit better. Okay, so next up, we're going to look at the push. Liam, where does it come from? Where does the push come from in the golf swing, you think?
So as a rule, obviously, if we start to see the golf ball, a push defining as the ball starting out to the right and staying to the right, we start to see the golf club is too open at some point during the golf swing. Now, the most common fault that we start to see that leads to that is the wrist position at the top of the backswing. So we start to see quite a cupped left wrist position, which obviously as a result of which causes the club face to be too open at the top of the backswing.
Right, okay. And I guess you don't want people to be thinking too much about the angle of their wrist at the top, because you've still got to play golf. So
of course.
How do you sort the problem out without getting too technical?
So a little drill that you can just do on the driving range, and I think it's important as well. You know, you can do a few different practice swings, and we can do this tee drill in a second. And it's important to just do 2 or 3 of these in a practice swing, and then go ahead and hit a shot, as you say, without getting over technical or too much thinking. Now, the simple drill is if you just place your left hand on the golf club as you normally would, and you just slide a tee peg here, just down the glove. Okay, so that's just inside my glove hand now. And all we're going to try and feel now as we swing to the top in my rehearsal is that when I get to the top of that backswing, if my left wrist position is in the right place, which is a flat left wrist, this tee peg just runs perfectly flat down my forearm. Now, if I start to get too much this way, that's now just applying a bit of pressure, so I can feel that I'm in the wrong position with my left wrist.
Right, and it's really nice. I guess it gives you a little something to think about.
Exactly.
You realise that you've done it at the top.
Just a little trigger and a little feel for you when you're having your practice swings to make sure you're doing it right.
Right, fine. So you wouldn't actually hit a ball doing that, would you?
No, I would just do 2 or 3 practice swings without no ball, just getting a feel for what it is I want to do, and then I'd go ahead and hit a shot with that new feel.
Okay. Take the tee out then,
Okay.
Liam. Just hit one for us. Just show everyone on camera, hopefully, what a good top and backswing position looks like.
If I just run you up to the top, I'm just going to have 2 or 3 rehearsals. I'm just going to have a little look at that at the top. So that's my flat left wrist. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit one with my flat left wrist.
Perfect. And it didn't push it. I can confirm that was not a push. And okay, so I guess it's probably not related, but for those players who've got the opposite problem, so their bad shot into the greens tends to be a pull.
Yep.
What's the best drill to help them out on that?
Again, so the rule will be, what's the club face doing? So we're starting to see, generally what we start to see with a pull is the club face is closing too quickly through impact. Okay, so obviously that's making the golf ball start to the left of target and stay to the left of target. So a very simple drill again, and just refer that back to a practice swing. If I hold the golf club just down at the bottom here now, so I've got all of this golf club running up my left side, all I'm going to feel now as I just mimic impact is that as I swing through the golf ball, I want this shaft to stay firmly away from me. So if I'm doing that, that's showing me that I'm not flicking my wrist through impact. Okay?
Yeah.
And as a result of which, that's going to stabilise the club head for me.
So if you're releasing the club, if you have that tendency to release the club a little bit too early, show us, you'll feel the club.
Absolutely. So you'll just feel, as you come into the golf ball here, if I release the golf club too early, you can see that that's making contact with me. If I just delay that release for a little bit longer, I've got plenty of room between me and the golf club, and as a result of which, that club face is staying square.
Yeah, and I guess the whole point here is that's really simple and a really effective way of giving you a feel for what to do.
Absolutely. And it's always good to have a reference away from the golf ball, 2 or 3 practice swings, just getting a feel for it, and then go ahead and hit a shot without too much thought.
So there you have it. No matter whether you're coming up short of the green, you're pushing your approach shots, or you're pulling them, hopefully Liam's tips here will help you get your ball striking back on track and help you hit the ball closer to the flag.